How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Armchair Analysis, this time college football edition. Hope you guys are having a good week so far. It is Tuesday, May 6th, 2025. Hopefully, y'all are having a good week. Hope you had a good weekend. If you haven't checked out my weekend recap from the sports world, you can go ahead and check that video out yesterday. Stay here for a little bit if you're a college football fan. We got some stuff to talk about today. It's college football coaching carousel. We're going to recap everything that happened in the coach carousel. Maybe if you tuned out from Ohio State winning the championship all the way until now, so be it. We're gonna start catching back up, and now that this channel's back up and running again, college football is always going to be a center point to this channel without question. There's nothing more important to me, I don't think, in the sports world than college football, and it's always going to be here. And so I'm really excited to get back into this and figuring out, what the most what the best way to do this is going to be. Truthfully, I mean, a lot of this is experiment by day. Day in, day out, just trying new things and seeing what works. And this is one of those things that's going to stick around. Like, no matter what, this channel is always going to have college football content. So if you enjoyed that stuff, if you enjoyed today's video specifically, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you think as we get started on our walk from 24 to 25 here in the college football world. So without further ado, I'm going to explain to you how this is going to go. I'm going to talk about every single coaching change in FBS. Yes, FBS, not FCS, not Division 2, not Division 3, FBS, 1A, if you will. The reason for that is because I don't have time, nor do I have the ability to really be able to talk competently about anything FCS and below. So I do apologize if I'm leaving anybody's teams out, but we are going to get the chance to talk about a lot of these things and kind of determine, some favorites, some not so favorites, some underrated hires. I got a lot of love to give to this entire list in some way, shape, or form. I'm really excited for it. I hope you guys are too. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to start by telling you right now that the SEC had 0 coaching changes. Correct. 0. Not Mark Stoops, not Sam Pittman, not Billy Napier. No, none of them. They all are still with their programs respectively. But the ACC had some changes. Mac Brown was let go / retired / walked away, whatever you want to say, from the North Carolina program. In steps Bill Belichick. And whether you want to talk about anything related to his off-the-field relationships in this video, if you're looking for that, you're in the wrong place. I'm not talking about that. I don't care about that. Until it affects the on-field product, which I have yet to determine or yet to see or know or hear, I don't care about his off-the-field situations. I don't care about his relationship. I don't care about his interview that went poor on CBS. I just don't care. I care about football. I care about what happens on the field. I care about how everything that happens off the field affects college football. But I don't care about Bill Belichick's life and his personal opinions and decisions and things like that. What I do care about is how it affects the North Carolina football program. Why? Well, because I happen to be around a bunch of North Carolina fans in the state of, North Carolina. Duh. Being here, I've heard so many things, so many excited people about UNC and about the way that this is going to be the NFL's 33rd team. Okay, if North Carolina has never been or been thought of as the 33rd NFL team, they're not going to start now. And it's certainly not going to start with Bill Belichick, who's probably got 5 years of coaching left, if we're being real. I don't think he's going to make it more than 5. I'm not saying he's going to die in 5 years. Let's make it very clear. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is I don't think he makes it 5 years in North Carolina. Whether he leaves or gets fired, he will not be there for 5 years. There are some things that help him. Of course, bringing his son Steve from Washington. I think that's underrated. I think that's not talked about enough as to the help that could bring to Bill in recruiting and understanding how the college football landscape works. I don't really have a worry about that. It's the fact that NFL styles typically don't translate at the college level. We've seen it time and time again. UCLA is one that comes to mind all the time of kind of going after those types of coaches, and it never works out. And UNC is not much different than UCLA in terms of relative success in college football. They might be even a little bit behind UCLA in terms of an all-time list. So there's that. And then there's this off the field stuff. There's these distractions that continue to happen. Yeah, I care about it because I think it's going to affect the on-field product at North Carolina. And with that being said, I do believe that this is going to be a failed project. This is going to be a failed experiment for North Carolina. I'll talk more about it later because it does come up in another subject here in the video. But I'm really concerned about this entire thought process and idea. It's a little sketchy, and I don't know. It's not sketchy in the fact of like Bill Belichick's absolutely hosing the university. No, it's not like that. I don't think he's intentionally trying to do anything wrong. I just don't see it working personally. Jake Dickert at Wake Forest, that is. Look, I live very close to this program. We'll say that. And even where I live, it's not necessarily predominantly Wake Forest fans, so UNC and everybody else, except for like the students, alumni, stuff like that. Wake Forest is a program that things can work at. We've seen it. I mean, the slow mesh with Dave Clawson worked at Wake Forest. Probably doesn't work at a high-level program like Michigan, Ohio State, Texas. Probably doesn't work there. But at Wake Forest, the unique offense worked. Jake Dickert brings an air raid offense to the table that I think is going to be really tough to stop in the ACC. And if they can finally get the right personnel and the right people in place, Wake Forest becomes a relatively desirable destination in that bottom half, that mid-tier ACC level. And when that happens, I think Wake Forest takes a little bit of a step forward. Do I think they're a playoff contender at any point? Maybe once every 5 or 6 years. Possibly. I mean, it's kind of where Dave Clawson was, really. Once every 4 or 5 years, they had that experienced team, a lot of seniors come in. They played really well. Sam Hartman comes to mind. And they compete, for an ACC title or an ACC division title. I don't know that that's particularly the goal at Wake Forest, but the goal is certainly not 3-9. The goal is not 4-8. The goal is not one of the worst offenses in the country or the worst defense in the country. The goal is to be average to above average and compete on the football field, bring in money for the school. I think they're going to be able to accomplish that with Dickert. Stanford fired Troy Taylor at the whim of their general manager, Andrew Luck. Do I like the move? No, I don't, honestly. I thought there was a lot of improvement from year 1 to year 2 under Troy Taylor. I thought there was a lot of things to really be excited about for Stanford football, and it all just got reset. And they bring in Frank Reich. I know this was an inside hire by Andrew Luck. I know this was, him doing his old coach a solid. But you're doing your university a disservice. Look, I know it's not going to work. I know it's only a 1-year situation, or at least expected to be 1 year. But the Stanford football program can't move forward without consistency. The one model that Stanford has had is consistency. Jim Harbaugh, David Shaw, and what was expected to be Troy Taylor for a long time to come. I thought Troy Taylor was going to be what Stanford needed to kind of climb back to the top of the Pac-12 at the time when this move was made. And then, of course, the ACC now. And rather, it's a full-on reset again. I don't know what to expect. I don't know that 2025 really means a lot to me for Stanford because, again, this is a 1-year deal. This is an interim head coaching gig for Frank Reich. And this is an interim, this is kind of like the feel-out process. Can Frank Reich coach a college team, or do I need to go and find somebody else if you're Andrew Luck? It'll be, I'm curious. I'm not amused. I'm not thrilled about this whole thing. If I'm a Stanford fan, I'm pissed. If I'm, and I know, look, I know Andrew Luck. Everybody loves Andrew Luck at Stanford. You're not going to if this is going to be a theme. I'm telling you, you're not. You don't want a revolving door head coach anymore in college football. You can't have it. You couldn't have it in the old era, and you certainly cannot have it now in the transfer portal era. Moving to the Big Ten, Barry Odom takes over at Purdue. Barry Odom is a good head coach at the mid-level. He does enough at a school like Missouri. He does enough, more than enough, at UNLV. He's going to do enough at Purdue. Purdue is a team that comes out, wins 7, 8, 9 games a year. At their best, wins 7, 8, 9 games a year. And they pull off this miraculous upset once a year at home in Ross-Ade Stadium. And everybody knows who Purdue is. Everybody knows the quarterback of Purdue at least once every 3 or 4 years. Barry Odom has a large hill to climb because Ryan Walters did not put Purdue in a good position whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I think Ryan Walters, and I said it when he was hired, was the worst decision they've ever made as a head coach decision. And it turned out to be exactly that. I want, in a lot of cases, nothing more than Purdue to be successful because I think that they're a really cool, feel-good story when they are good. I feel the same way about Northwestern. I feel the same way about Indiana being good last year. I feel the same way about Illinois, Minnesota, Nebraska when they come back. As a Big Ten fan, as somebody who grew up in Big Ten country, as somebody who, I mean, come on, guys. As somebody who is a Big Ten football fan, nothing makes me happier than seeing the little guy be good. The little guy pull off the upset. Barry Odom fits the bill. They're going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see what this offense looks like, that go-go offense at Purdue. Seemingly anytime they get a head coach that likes to air it out and kind of just go for broke, that's when the exciting Purdue teams come alive. Give it a year, but 2026 and maybe even into 2027, Purdue might just be last year's Indiana. I'm not predicting that by any means. I'm just saying it's possible that Purdue may go on a run with a healthy enough schedule, with an easy enough schedule. You know, you take away an Oregon or get it down Michigan or Ohio State or Penn State. You never know. Into the Big 12, we get Rich Rodriguez back at West Virginia. Man, that's cool, isn't it? Now, there's a lot of ways this could go. Remember, it did not end well back in 07. In 06, leading into 07, where, ultimately Rich Rod left, went to Michigan from 08 to 2010, and then his career completely went in the can, right? We thought Rich Rod was done. At least I thought he was. Granted, that was 10-year-old me, really mad because my team was 3-9. But Rich Rodriguez has the potential, has the ability, especially in today's era of college football. I mean, West Virginia has 40, damn near 50 transfers coming in. They're one of the biggest transfer portal classes we've ever seen. And they're not the biggest, but they are one of the biggest this year. Barry Odom, as a matter of fact, got Purdue up to 50, I think. So it's not impossible to say that West Virginia has this 1-year turnaround. Nico Marchiol is going to be a big deal. How they adjust game in, game out, and what they are able to actually put on the field. Because I don't know. I'm going to be honest, I don't know how any of these guys are going to play together. 46 new players on your roster. I'm going to go and double check that number real quick to make sure that I have that right based on the research I did earlier for this. Yeah, 46 as of the time of me doing all my research for these videos, and that number could go up by the time you see this. Remember, I'm recording on Monday morning at 12:38 a.m. just after midnight on Monday morning. So it's not out of the question that West Virginia continues to add here. I like the hire. I love what Rich Rod's done. I think that he fits West Virginia. He is West Virginia. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited. I think everybody in Morgantown is too. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I love it. Absolutely love it. The last one in the Power 5 is Scott Frost at UCF. I mean, we know how that worked. The Big 12's got a theme going back to old ways. Scott Frost did a great job at UCF the first time around, left for Nebraska, wanted to rebuild and make Nebraska good again. He couldn't get it done. Couldn't win the big games, couldn't win the close games. Going back to UCF, I think is exactly what he needs. He's going back to a place that loves him, that wants him there, that's not cutthroat. Okay, they're kind of cutthroat. You know, they've had success recently. They want Scott Frost there. I think it's going to work out. I'm excited. I think that's a fun fit that I look forward to. And they've also brought a big transfer portal class in. I think 36 or 37 transfers so far here. So they're doing a great job too down there in Orlando. We move on to the group of 5, and this is where it gets a little hectic because there were a lot of changes. And even specifically, the American Athletic Conference is replacing over half of their head coaches, whether their coach leaves or got fired. More times than not, it's getting fired. This is going to be fun. I can't wait to go over this one. Willie Simmons, the former Duke running back coach, takes over at FIU. I'm going to be honest. I don't know that that's going to help FIU. I know they're trying. I know they're doing what they can to get into this NIL game and work a lot of things out. I know that Pitbull kind of bought in as part of the Miami culture. It just doesn't really hit me in any way. I don't have any feelings about it. We'll see. ECU takes Blake Harrell, their former defensive coordinator, to be their new head coach. East Carolina is a fun school and has a lot of really cool things to it. They just put a third-round cornerback who I think might be one of the top 5 corners in this draft class when his career is said and done, at Siobhan Rebel. That's a big reason why Blake Harrell gets the nod here at ECU. This is going to be a lot of fun. Just, let's see it. Let's see it. Pirates are going to be a good team in years to come, and I'm excited. I got to get out to Dowdy-Ficklin. That place is so fun. It's a beautiful, beautiful campus over there. Charles Huff, head coach at Southern Miss. He left Marshall for NIL reasons. Southern Miss wants to get better. They have been the bottom of the barrel in the American since they came over. They want improvement. They want competitive football teams. They want to be competitive for a conference championship. Charles Huff has been that in the Sun Belt, and with a conference that's turning over so many head coaches, it's hard for me to think that this isn't going to be at least a home run by Southern Miss standards. What are Southern Miss standards? I guess we'll find out, because honestly, I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I have no idea. If you're a Southern Miss fan, let me know. I would say probably be a perennial bowl team. 6 to 8 wins with an occasional 10-win season, putting yourself in the conference championship. Is that it? Again, forgive me if I'm shooting you low or maybe even too high. But I've only seen Southern Miss as a bad program in my life. I mean, understand, I'm 25 years old. I don't know what Southern Miss is if they're good. I didn't witness Brett Favre at Southern Miss. I don't know. Who knows? I'm excited, though. I will give him the benefit of the doubt because I saw what he did for Marshall. That's why it's probably one of my favorite American Conference hires. Trey Lamb to Tulsa. Look, this one's interesting because he was rumored for a handful of jobs. He was rumored for App State. He was rumored for Tulsa. Ultimately lands out there in Oklahoma. And it's a program that's really looking, and it's really short for patience. I mean, they let Kevin Wilson go very quickly. It's not going to be easy for Trey Lamb to just turn around and build this program. He also wasn't overly successful at East Tennessee State. He wasn't overly successful there. He's never been overly successful anywhere, but he's also never stayed for more than 2 to 5 seasons at a time. Trey Lamb is the ultimate mystery in this American Athletic Conference right now. I have other guys that I think are mysteries, but Trey Lamb is the mystery of the American Athletic Conference. It's either going to be a home run or it's not, or it's going to blow up in their face and they're going to be searching again in 2027. I'll let them be the judges of that. Beats me. Tim Albin, North Carolina at Charlotte, a.k.a. the Charlotte 49ers. He's coming down from the Ohio University, and for those who have watched me watched my stuff for a while, whether it's been at Loudmouth with Loudmouth COB, or whether it's here when I was doing Morning Huddle, or now with Armchair Analysis. Understand that I am a big fan of Tim Albin. What he did with the Ohio Bobcats last year was absolutely incredible. It's a big reason he got this offer. And he's going to replace Biff Poggi, who is a guy who is an incredible motivator, not so much of a great recruiter. Albin is a good recruiter at a G5 level. He does what he needs to do. He fills spots very well. And he also coaches them up, and he's put together staffs that have coached up his players as well. Not many people could replace Frank Solich the way that Albin did. That right there is why I think this is going to be an absolute home run for Charlotte. Scott Abel of Rice, formerly of Davidson College here in North Carolina, has led Davidson to arguably their best stretch in school history as a football coach. It's fun because I think that he is going to match the energy of the Owls. I think that Rice is a sentimental school for me for multiple reasons, and a lot of them have to do with NCAA 14, to be completely honest. But Rice is sentimental to me. I want them to be successful. I want them to be they don't need to be perennial American contenders, but I'd like for, once every 3 years to sit back and say, hey, Rice can win the American Athletic Conference. Rice can be the G5 representative in the playoffs. That might be more of a once-a-decade thing, but that's what I want. If he can bring that to the table, fantastic. If not, well, then, it's not really much different than what Mike Bloomgren did. And honestly, I'm not sure that I understood that firing anyways. Because what were you expecting him to do? What is anybody expecting Rice to do? This is an academic school that is, again, solely focused on academics. This is not a school that just goes out and kind of farts around on the football field, and wants to be a perennial contender. Bloomgren beat Houston. Not many coaches do that, especially not anymore. Post Southwest Conference, that does not happen. So Scott Abel's got a bit of shoes to fill here at Rice, and they're not huge. They're probably size 9. But that's still it's still tough to do. This is not a conference that is as good as it once was, if some may say, as Toby Keith once quoted. But it is a school that has potential. We'll see what they do with said potential. Casey Keeler leaves Sam Houston State to go to Temple. I'm intrigued. You have my attention. Stan Drayton clearly wasn't the guy at Temple, and I don't think anybody ever would have believed so. But I have seen guys do it. Matt Rule did it for Temple prior to going to Baylor, and then the NFL, and now Nebraska, where he's turning things around. Casey Keeler has a good opportunity here to make something that many people have not, which is a competitor at Temple. It's no secret that this school is not a football school. They're not really known for much of anything other than academics. But they can be competitive. I've seen Temple be competitive. I've seen them beat Penn State, funny enough, which has not happened very much in anybody's lifetime. So it'll be fun. It'll be exciting. Casey Keeler, I think, is a good coach. We'll see. We'll go to another one of my favorites, and this is just because I think it's going to turn into a really, really fun offense. Zach Kitley at Florida Atlantic, coming over from Texas Tech as their offensive coordinator. We saw that air raid offense out there in Lubbock. They're fun. That was fun. FAU is going to be fun. I don't care if they win a bunch of games or not. They are going to have a high-flying, high-attack offense that puts a bunch of points on the board, and we're just going to see if their defense can hang on. Because I don't know. I truly don't know. If they can, they're going to be a 10-win team. If they can't, they'll probably be a 6-6 team. It'll be fun. This American Conference, seeing all these first-year coaches, it's exciting. It's an exciting time, personally, if I'm looking at it myself. Who knows? We will see. Conference USA, Phil Longo takes over at Sam Houston State. We just talked about Casey Keeler going out to Temple. Phil Longo comes in from Wisconsin. He was the offensive coordinator. He likes that kind of air raid-ish style offense with a little bit of power run scheme, if you will. That'll be a lot of fun. I don't know that I love it, but it's Sam Houston and it's the Conference USA. I don't love or think much of a lot of things in the Conference USA. They add Delaware, they add Missouri State. I think it'll be exciting first year for those two. But again, there's not a lot of pride to be taken in 2025 from winning the Conference USA right now. Jerry Mack, former Jacksonville Jaguars running back coach, takes over at Kennesaw State. This is another one of those where I'm just kind of like Willie Simmons. I'm going to sit back, watch, see what happens. Can't get worse. That's at least the minimum. But I think you could have done. Well, I don't know if I could say you could have done better because I don't know. I don't honestly know what can Kennesaw State do better. That's a good question. I don't know. To the MAC, the Mid-American Conference, we got Matt Drinkle going to Central Michigan, former Army offensive line coach. Color me intrigued. Do a great job on the offensive line, and we're going to be talking a lot of really good things about you. If you fix Central Michigan's line of scrimmage problems as a whole, you're in business. If you don't, it is what it is. Again, what's Central Michigan standard? What do they want? What are they looking for? That's probably how I would decide. I just don't know. I don't know what Central Michigan wants. I know. I knew when I read it I was going to have a problem with this. Joe Harasimiak. See if that was good. Hopefully it was. Yeah, we'll try that. UMass head coach. He's coming over from Rutgers. He was a former defensive coordinator there under Greg Schiano. UMass first year in the MAC. We'll see. That's going to be the key of these here in the MAC. Mike Urimovich for going to Ball State. He's coming over from Butler, who has been a pretty good team over the last couple of years. Again, you're jumping up from a lower level conference in the FCS level to a lower tier conference at the FBS level. I don't know. I don't personally. I don't have any feelings. I'm just going to watch, see what happens. You're replacing Mike New. Mike New didn't do a whole lot for the Cardinals, so we'll see. Brian Smith going to Ohio. Well, staying in Ohio, actually. He's getting promoted from offensive coordinator who replaced Tim Albin. You know, I wonder how much credit he's going to be able to take for the offense last year and the way that they were. I mean, Parker Navarro was important and really developed over the course of the season. I'm not particularly loving Ohio because I think they kind of got picked apart by the transfer portal, as has the majority of the MAC too. Before anybody gets upset. I like everybody else, I'm in wait and see mode. I can't judge a MAC hire because I just don't know. I honestly don't. This is going to take me some time to figure out what the teams look like and what the conference looks like. At some point, though, I will have a certain opinion of what I think will happen. Going to the Mountain West, where Matt Ince takes over at Fresno State, former USC linebackers coach. So here's my problem. If this is a recruiting play, great job. If this is any other play, not great job. We saw the front seven at USC last year. It wasn't really good, and the linebackers have not developed really at all. The ones that start to transfer out for better development, it doesn't feel like a winning move for Fresno State. It just doesn't. I'm having a hard time with this one. I think this might be one of my least favorite hires in the G5 level. Bronco Mendenhall takes over at Utah State, formerly at New Mexico. I kind of like this. I think it's a war of feelings. It's a clash of feelings, if you will, for Utah State. Because remember, he was the head coach at BYU. That's a big rivalry for Utah State. Hmm. That's fun. Have fun, Utah State, at the very minimum. But I think it does improve your program. I think it helps. Of course, the Blake Anderson situation last year was a bit surprising, if we're all being honest. So it deserved a refresh. The team needed a refresh. The school needed a refresh. We will kind of see where it goes. Dan Mullen, UNLV. I mean, that's a pretty cool replacement for Barry Odom. Um, and Dan Mullen still got it. I think that you still got to find a way to recruit. Dan, let's not just push that to the wayside out here in Vegas, because I think that Vegas, they got a taste of winning. They got a taste of being competitive for a conference championship, and they want to continue it. Dan Mullen, it's on you to do so. Jimmy Rogers takes over Washington State, and this is more Pac-2, Pac-12, whatever. Former coach at South Dakota State, head coach at South Dakota State. Sorry, I wrote SDSU and was saying, and I was like, no, he's not San Diego State, that's for sure. The South Dakota State head coach, he was there for 2 years, won a national championship. Very, very lightly tenured, but he is a winning head coach. You can judge that based on what he inherited, or you can judge it and say he's a good coach. I'm gonna sit back and wait and find out, because I don't know. I want Washington State to be good. I really do. I think they're a lot of fun when they are, but I don't have a personal preference or feel on that hire yet. On to the Sun Belt. Dwell Logans takes over at Appalachian State, coming in from South Carolina as an offensive coordinator. I didn't like Sean Clark at App State. I think everybody knew that. I don't love Logan's as a head coach. I want him to succeed. I do. I couldn't. I don't think I could be more interested in that as a conversation. I just don't know. I need to sit back and just see how it happens. Tony Green, or no, that's not it. Tony Gibson goes to Marshall, the former NC State defensive coordinator. We've all seen those defenses at over in Raleigh. They're good. I think this is going to be fun. I think it'll be exciting for Marshall fans to maybe continue some success. Biggest thing, NIL. That's why Charles Huff left. If you want a successful head coach that wants to stay, especially at the G5 level, bolster your NIL. You can. I know Marshall can. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. There is one other thing I need to find. It hit me that I saw it and I need to find it. Jason Eck is the guy tabbed to take over at New Mexico for the Lobos, so that'll be a fun one too. I don't know that I don't have an overall feeling, because I mean it's New Mexico. If you're successful, we'll know your name, and if you're not, we won't. Fair. I think that's a very easy way to say it. Moving on, I'm gonna close this out by just talking about my favorite hire, my least favorite, and my most underrated hires of this cycle. In the Power Five, my options are limited. In the Group of Five, my options are not limited. I think I have some interesting thoughts here. My best hire in this cycle of coaching changes. In the Power 5, it's Rich Rodriguez at West Virginia. I think that this is going to be a reuniting that succeeds with flying colors. I honestly just can't wait to see it get started. And when it does, it's gonna be a lot of fun. At the group of 5 level, Zach Kitley is my favorite hire and my best hire of the cycle. I just can't say it anymore. I love the offense. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it fits really well into the American, where, you know, really, who are you looking up to in the American right now? Tulane is probably your option with John Summerall, but everybody else is kind of scrambling, and even Tulane is scrambling because they don't have. They've hit the portal well, but they lost a lot in the portal. They lost a lot. Makai Hughes went out. Darian Mensah went out. How John Summerall replaces those guys is a big deal. And I think Zach Kitley has a really good opportunity to maybe be that first year success story as a head coach in a G5 level. My underrated hire, I'm going to get the best out of the way first. My underrated hire at Power 5 is Jake Dickert. It's hard to underrate Barry Odom, and it's also hard to underrate Scott Frost going back to UCF. I think it's going to be a little bit undervalued as terms of like the fan base and maybe even the college football public as a whole. But Jake Dickert is not being talked about enough going to Wake. I could turn around and be completely wrong, but this is what I'm going to go with. That's what I'm going to stick with. I'm not going to give up on it. At the group of 5 level, it's Tim Alvin at Charlotte. I can't state enough how impressed I was with 2024 and the way they did things. And yes, I projected it, but it doesn't particularly mean that it was a foregone conclusion either. I think that it took a lot of hard work and really solid evaluation of what you have. Tim Alvin, without question, should be an underrated hire here in this cycle. My least favorite hire, I'm going to start with the group of 5, and it's Trey Lamb at Tulsa. I really don't see success here. I just don't. I mean, I could talk about Matt Ince too, but Trey Lamb is far and away for a program who's so impatient. That's a patient hire to make, or assumptively patient hire to make. So either they're going to give him time, or he's going to be, again, gone very quickly, because I don't think he has enough time or will get enough time to truly make a difference. At the Power 5 level, my least favorite is Bill Belichick. Again, I don't think he makes it 5 years, and I'm going to be honest, I think the line's going to be drawn at 3. It's a big contract. It's a lot of money. But 2028, it's going to be boom or bust at UNC. And I'm gonna stray on the latter side of that. Y'all can let me know what you think, and y'all can let me know if you agree, disagree. Hell, I don't care. Right? We can have all these conversations in the comments if you'd like to. But yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and make sure you follow me on socials. By the way, those are all linked down in the description. You can follow me on X, that's where I'm most active, but I'm also going to be posting stuff on Instagram. I'm going to be working on TikTok. I'm going to work on it. No promises I'm going to be great at it, but I'm going to be working to improve my presence over there and see what we can make out of this whole thing. But I can't tell you how much I appreciate all the support and everybody tuning in and being so supportive again of everything we're doing here. So I'm looking forward to it. Again, tune in tomorrow if you are so inclined, and if you leave a subscription, turning on that notification bell and all that stuff. If you subscribe, you will get the opportunity to see the video again as soon as it comes out. It'll drop in your sub box, and you'll get to hear me talk about everything you may have missed from the transfer portal going up until this point. So it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it. You can also check out yesterday's video where I recap the weekend in baseball, hockey, NBA. I mean, historical Game 7 weekend for the NHL. Super pumped to carry forward. And yeah, appreciate everybody tuning in. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next one.